So a man has been forced to let his ex-wife use his sperm to have children. Let's have a look. Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Heiser Says. I have my stein of coffee and I thought we'd read through this article because frankly when you're on the internet enough you start to see things and think, oh that has to be from The Onion. That can't be real. This article is about a man forced to allow his ex to use his sperm to get pregnant and then he has to pay child support. Just dwell on that for a moment before we go any further. I mean, it's insane. Let's have a look. For all we hear about women supposedly not having equal rights to men, it sure seems that in some cases women have more rights than men. I wouldn't agree that the premise that women have equal rights, and yeah, I think they have more rights, frankly, because they're required to continue the species. Case in point, an Arizona court recently ruled that a woman wanting to use her ex-husband's saved sperm to become pregnant outweighed the man's desire to not become a father. That's insane. Due to this court ruling, the man can also be liable for 18 years of child support. In 2014, Ruby Torres was diagnosed with bilateral breast cancer. She was told that after chemotherapy, she likely wouldn't be able to become pregnant. She and her then boyfriend, John Terrell, decided to preserve some embryos so that she might one day be able to become a mother. The couple would eventually marry, but then divorced, according to the Arizona Republic. During the divorce, Terrell wanted to make sure Torres couldn't use the embryos to become pregnant. He brought his case to the Massapequa County Superior Court, who ruled the embryos should go to a third party. Torres appealed and received a win on the 14th of March. The trial court erred when it placed heavy weight on the party's inability to co-parent. Judge Jennifer P. Campbell wrote in a 2-1 decision overturning the lower court's findings. Nothing in the record suggests that either of them expected to intend or co-parent any offspring derived from the embryos. That's just crazy. That statement there just sums up where the world is heading. Where Western civilization, where United States, where everyone's going these days, where they're just not even having two parents, a father and mother, or giving the ability to co-parent isn't even considered important. It's terrible. Terrell, it turns out, originally declined to donate his sperm for the embryos, but changed his mind after Torres suggested she would use an ex-boyfriend's sperm instead. So she manipulated him, bullied and blackmailed him into giving up his sperm, and she still gets access to it. This is insane. The court ruled that the couple only agreed to preserve the embryos because of the potential for Torres to be unable to conceive in the future, not for the two to co-parent at some point. Okay, so they're making the argument that because the embryos, did they impregnate the embryos with his sperm? I assume they did, or else this wouldn't be an issue. She could just get someone else to use, but because they were saved for her benefit, he doesn't get a say in it anymore. In her dissenting opinion, Judge Maria Elena Cruz told that Torres and Terrell signed a contract when they preserved the embryos that both parents would have to provide express written consent for the embryos to be used. Torres even testified acknowledging that we did sign a contract and we agreed to those provisions. That seems like an open and shut case there, people. The court has now ignored that contract, according to Judge Cruz. Now, that happens all the time, more than you think. Here in Australia, a prenup agreement is not worth the paper it's written on. I remember I was in a networking group. Every morning, well, once a week, you'd meet for breakfast and everyone would have 60 seconds to sell your business to other people. It had a very American markety push feel to it. Let me know in the comments if you can tell what I'm talking about. I lasted about a year and it just didn't really work for me, honestly, just for the type of architecture I was doing. And I remember there was one lawyer in the group and he was just talking up prenups, protect yourself, this, that, and the other. And he ended up getting married. And I asked him, oh, mate, did you get a prenup? And he said, nah, why would I? We got nothing. So he's just talking out his ass, selling this to all the old middle-aged people that were going for round two, to get a couple of grand a pop to sign a document that he wouldn't even do himself. So I've got very little respect for them. And I've spoken to professionals where the judges will throw them out when children are involved, particularly. They'll just ignore it. And one thing also, with the whole MGTOW movement that's growing in popularity, a lot of men are heading down that path. And I've been talking to Rachel about this and just thinking about how to discuss that lifestyle or introduce that lifestyle to people who probably aren't exposed to it, have got no idea what it is. And just thinking about it, she mentioned one thing that Rachel and I, when we came together, we became a couple. We were both at uni. We both pretty much had nothing. Pretty much. We were studying the same degree together, and we ended up building up our business, our family, everything together. When we win a huge project that's, keep our business going forever, we both worked on it. We were both there taking turns working all through the night to get stuff sorted, even when we had kids. That didn't change. So everything we've built together as a team. But say if I were now in my, late 30s, were to get into a relationship with someone, and we'd each be coming at a level with a certain amount of assets and stuff we've accumulated, a certain amount of habits. We haven't grown as people from 20-something to 30-something. I think it'd be a different dynamic. So I think a lot of the men, in their mid-30s or even, mid-20s up, they've started to build their base, and then they're worried that if they bring someone else into that partnership, they've got a lot more to lose than when you're a university student and you've got, 2 scraps of paper to rub together as your assets and you build something together. I think it's a different dynamic. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. I want to do a video talking about it a bit more, kind of with the idea of introducing the whole MGTOW growing movement to normal people that may not be exposed to it online. Because I can appreciate where a lot of the blokes are coming from and why they're pursuing that path. And this article is just an example of the risks that are imposed. Even the contract is meaningless. It's completely meaningless. Another story, a bunch of engineers bought out a previous director. He'd signed this non-competition clause, went off and ran a tennis business, got bored of it, started up a new business, exactly the same, ignoring the clause. The lawyers were saying, yep, you'll have to fight it, you probably won't win, and it'll cost you $100,000 to fight it. So a lot of these contracts aren't worth the paper they are written on. So back to the article after my rambling. Do contracts matter? I believe they do, Cruz wrote. Therefore, because the contract of these parties explicitly prohibits the outcome reached by the majority, and because it is outside our purview to reweigh the evidence, I would affirm the trial court's judgment, or in the alternative, remand the matter to the trial court for a new weighing of the parties' interests. Okay, a bunch of legal talk there. The Arizona Republic reports that this case caused state legislators to pass a law last year that would free further individuals in similar situations from being responsible for children conceived against their will. Wow. The Republican describes the bill as requiring the viable embryos from a divorced couple be awarded to the parent who will allow a child to be born, but also states that the other parent has no rights or obligations. It's sad when you get to that point, when you get to that point in a relationship where it's broken down and where you're fighting over this situation. This, of course, won't help Terrell, who will likely be on the hook for child support should Torres use the embryos. So there you go. And I mean, we can have a look at, we'll scroll down the 50 million pages of things here, just some of the comments here. And let's see if we can find, think before considering IVF. Yep. Let's see if I can find some MGTOW people here. I saw some before, saying this is why it's growing. This is why people are doing it. Hey, please change the headline to reflect the reality here. We're talking embryos, not sperm. A huge difference. Perhaps, but the sperms have been inseminated. Save yourself, go MGTOW. Don't marry, don't cohabitate, don't donate sperm. It's sad in a way. It really is that people are getting to a point where they are it's too dangerous, where our society is so stacked to one side that it's just people are risking everything. And the thing is, you'll be trapped in indentured servitude, essentially. You'll be forced to make these payments for 18 years. He may not even get access to his kids. What if he wants access to it? What do you think will happen there? How will the courts decide? Guys, let me know what you think. One video or movie I suggest you all watch, if you're not familiar with some of these issues regarding just men's rights, is The Red Pill. and I'll put a link to it below. I'd suggest you have a watch of that one. But no, let me know what you think. Do you think this is fair? Do you think this is unfair? Do you think it's having a contract being completely ignored? Where does that put you? Let me know what you think, everyone. Please like, share, and subscribe. Ding the bell to see my daily updates. And have a lovely day. I'll see you all again later. Bye for now.